Welcome to the Extreme Gaming Podcast.
Hello, welcome to Extreme Gaming Podcast, episode 322. My name is Gray Gamer, and this is my partner over here, Mr. Trev.
Hi, Trev as always. Hello.
Trev as always.
We just two people today. Sad times.
Yeah, I mean, Hans got sick, unfortunately. Feel better, Hans. And Matt had some in real life stuff to take care of. Next thing you know, there's only two of us. And last week I was out because I was sick, and it was only two of us then too. But hey, yeah, thank you.
Sorry,
Don't make me cough.
I have to go.
No. If my voice sounds raspy, I apologize. I still got a little cough going on and stuff, but I'm a hell of a lot better than I was. That's for sure.
Good.
Also, too, I just want to possibly upfront apology if the show goes a little shorter than normal. That's just because we got two people out and their material was ready, but now it can't be done. So I'll apologize up front if that's what happens, but we will try to, go as long as we usually can. If you want to join our Discord, a bunch of people have lately. It's discord.gg/Extreme Gaming Podcasts, all one word. Or if you want to email us, it's info@extremegamingpodcast.com. We also are going to be doing our episode 2 of Extreme Hollywood podcast will be out soon. We are delayed a little bit because of everybody being sick, but we will get that out pretty soon. We should be recording next week on that one. So that's kind of it, more or less. So we'll kind of just dive into it a bit. And Trev's going to lead us off on some hardware tech news.
One thing to mention before that, though, is the podcast is available again on YouTube. Long story short, we stopped doing it for a little while because we didn't really see the point. The audio pod was the bread and butter, and it has been, it always will be. However, we record it with video. It would be silly not to stick it on YouTube. Not the same fancy editing as we once had, to be fair, because time equal versus results didn't mean that it was really worth our while. But, it won't go out crap either. It'll go out, kind of as raw as possible. But if there's any edits we need to make, we will. We'll try not to make any mistakes. And then you can watch that. And of course, anyone that wants to watch it before anyone else or listen to it before anyone else, because it's part of the video pod, for the members on the channel, from $1.99 a month, you can actually get access to the pod 24 hours early before everyone else, and then it'll be released on Friday, the video pod. So yes, bear that in mind. And now, yes, some news, Mr. Great, some news. Probably a bit shorter than we usually do, but Gray and I can talk shit anyway. So
if we have to, we can probably go a lot longer.
That probably won't be an issue.
But of course,
at all.
We want good quality content too. We're not just going to say jokes back and forth.
Good quality shit. Okay, I'll try. No promises.
GQS. Yeah. Okay.
But it's side tangent. I had a couple of people in the Discord asking me about the new keyboard that I got. I showed it off last week. It was the Corsair Galleon SD, which stands for Stream Deck. It's got the Stream Deck built into it. Do I need it? No. Does it look cool as hell? Yes. So I then have it, and it's very. I like the key travel. It's very nice. I think Jansen, someone else was asking about it. So
Jansen.
But yeah, very nice. I've got a couple of Razer mouse stuff as well. So I'm enjoying the new toys. Right, the first thing I'm going to start off with is a studio that's local to me called Build a Rocket Boy. They were the guys that come out with the game Mind's Eye, which was kind of like GTA Lite, is the best way I can describe it. It was something where the game came out a bit delayed, very broken, very, very buggy. The CEO has announced more layoffs, citing organized espionage and criminal sabotage.
Is that what he said? Exactly?
Yeah, I quote, that is pretty bold without proper hardcore evidence and facts. Has it been reported with the police? I don't know.
Of course, people that really say that like that so boldly are usually the ones that did it.
Oh, Well, yeah, I never thought
We'll
of the
see.
double cross. The chap's name is Mark Gerald. Gerhard.
Gerard?
I
Gerard?
think it's Gerhard, yeah. And he says in his statement that over the past few years, the game industry has gone through one of the most difficult periods in its history. Many talented developers across the world have been affected by layoffs and restructuring even, Trevor, English. Unfortunately, today we have to share that Build a Rocket Boy is not immune to these pressures. Today we're announcing a further number of redundancies at the studio. This is a deeply painful decision. The people leaving our team have invested enormous talent, passion, and long hours into building what we believe in. Letting colleagues go is never something any leader wants to do, and I know the impact this will have on individuals, families, and our wider community. As leaders, we take responsibility for our projects and the decisions that follow. At the same time, the launch period was affected by factors beyond normal operational challenges and competitive environment. I won't read everything because it's a bit longer, but the next part I'll read out is kind of prevalent to what I just mentioned. And that's that while the investigation has progressed, the team has worked relentlessly to involve the game and server players. I'm increasingly proud of the dedication and resilience our developers have shown. However, the prolonged impact on this difficult launch means we've had to take up the brutal and heartbreaking steps of reducing the size of the studio once again to ensure the long-term future of the company. They can't say, end quote there, they can't say too much on the legal side of things, they say, because they're dealing with authorities and whatnot at the moment, and I guess they don't want to indict themselves or anyone else yet. This is a shame because I did play a little bit of the game, and once they fixed some of the bugs at the start, it was actually pretty good. It looked good. It played nice once they fixed some of the issues. It was just one of these situations, games where it get too broken, too many issues with it, and what happens if you don't make money? You have to start letting people go. And it's these guys are partly owned by one of the chaps that came from GTA. I think it was one of the original guys, I think, that started GTA, Rockstar. He went and done his own studio. And I remember getting insight into this game without getting too much information years ago with someone I knew from there. Couldn't say much, like they couldn't tell you much because they sign NDAs and all that. And this person was a environmental artist, and this was the game all along that they were talking about. Shame it comes out so buggy. But yeah, so that is that game. I can't see them ever recovering from that because they were a spin-off, not a spin-off, but a studio that came kind of from Rockstar guys, and I can't really see them having the legs to stand on. This game's going to go the way of the dodo pretty soon.
Was that their first game? Or
yeah, first and only game probably. Yeah, it's kind of a shame.
They say, you don't get a second chance at a first impression. So once you get a game that's that bad, it's like no one remembers.
Yeah, the money is just too much money, man. It's somebody would have to. I guess the guy that came from Rockstar, came from GTA, probably had quite a lot of his own funds because of the position he was in the company. So he was able to put a lot of that into a studio. But running a game studio is very expensive, especially if you're working on a game for years, funding it before anything ever comes out. So rather them than me, it's mental. The other thing I had in my agenda was the Steam Machine. Yes, the Steam Machine. It's still here. It's not a hoax. It will be coming out apparently still. Valve insists it will release the Steam Machine and Steam Frame, along with the controller as well, in 2026 after blog said it hoped to. Now, this was a whole thing on Steam through their news section where they put information on the Steam Machine. They actually put the words hope to, and then when everyone was kicking up shit and going, wow, they actually reworded it to, it will come out in 2026. So, Gray, that's actually changed and evolved from the first quarter of 2026 to the first half of 2026. And now it's saying it'll come out in 2026. So what that really basically means, if we read between the lines, probably is it will come out holiday period 2026, just before Christmas. I'm okay with that because I don't want Steam machines and VR headsets coming out that cost an arm and a leg.
Sure.
Because people can't really afford it. You saw the issues recently with all the components going up in price and becoming more scarce. That affected the Steam Deck, which was out of stock in certain locations, mostly the US. Came back into stock, but the Steam machine, essentially what will happen, they're delaying this, Gray, because if they had to try and bring it out just now, it'd be closer to the $1,000 mark. And they will still sell them, but they'll take a big hit in the numbers they could sell the unit for. So they'll wait to see if prices stabilize, and I believe they are slowing down. But how long they'll hold and then start coming back down, no one knows. So they will try and hold off for a little while, and then try and release it later on, closer to the $500-600 mark. But the thing I don't get is this is more prevalent for things like maybe the PlayStations and Xboxes. Or from what I understand and what I read, when companies put orders in for components like RAM, especially for something, say, the PlayStation 5 or the PS6 to come out in a couple of years, you need to do it a couple of years in advance to secure your stock, right? So Valve, surely to God, has already put their order in with whomever is making their components, particularly the RAM, and already got some of it allocated to them. I guess because prices have went up, even though they've confirmed the price, they may still have to change it later on, and they don't have to bring out a product to then release they expand the price shortly after it's released. So I think, Gray, we all discussed recently that we all love the concept of the Steam machine, what it can and can't do, but that none of us will probably get it because it's like a nice to have toy that no one really needs, I guess. Will you get one?
No, but the only thing that we talked about this before, I want to see it come out and see whether there's a way that we could use the OS. I know someone's going to look into it and maybe figure it out. I don't know, but we have a lot of smart people out there. But if we were able to use it and it works really well, we won't know that till it comes out. Man, would I love to do that. I would sit there and do a dual boot real quick and just play all my games on the Steam OS and go with it that way. It would be like great. As far as the components and RAM and things that they're waiting on, I bet you bottom dollar that even if they put the order in 2 years ago, the companies that make the RAM for them probably only had a quarter of the stock that they wanted, and they weren't worried about making more because they basically made it, didn't tell them, and started selling it for way more money to the AI industry.
Well, yeah, that as well. Yeah, of course.
I mean, they could say no, but I mean, you can't deny it. Where's it all coming from? The thing that's really kind of ridiculous, I guess, but I get it, but it's ridiculous, is that a lot of these companies are sitting on stockpiles of RAM that they're not even using because they're waiting for everything else to have to fall into place with AI. A lot of these places have to build data centers. That's a 2-year minimum commitment to build it. And so the RAM just useless until then, but they're so afraid that they weren't going to get it or that the price would be too high, even though basically they're forcing it higher, that they have it all tied up. So we probably could have RAM, maybe not as much as before, but we could if they weren't stockpiling. So God knows how many rooms are full of RAM right now. Just waiting.
That just reminded me of something, Gray, actually, because our esteemed colleague, Mr. Hans, said that he possibly might have to, if he can fix things and sort things out, move to Linux for gaming because, and I don't have this noted down, I don't think you do either, Gray, but it was something worth talking about. It was you, Gray, I believe, that put or was it Hans that put the article in about Windows 12 rumored to be modular, with
think I did, but
possibly
yeah.
priced sections of it.
Yep. And they're
Right.
gonna want us to pay for it, and so essentially, it's going to be Windows going on a subscription service now. I mean,
They usually give you it for free if you already have the existing copy. I'd imagine they'll do the same thing again, but like they won't give you the whole thing. There'll be certain elements you might have to pay a subscription for or ad hoc costs. And I don't know what that would mean for us. Like, do you remember reading that article in detail? And I didn't read it. I just skimmed through it. Do you remember what it said, what we could or couldn't expect?
From what I understand, if it happens the way they want it to, when they say modular, they really mean modular. So basically, they can plug in whatever from an app to something bigger or whatever, and it's a plug and play-ish kind of thing on a software level or whatever. I don't know if they're really going to be able to pull that off. And if they do bring it out, I can see so many headaches coming out of that one. I'm just ready for it to happen. But despite that, even if they say it's a subscription service, well, they could say if you're already an owner of Windows 11, we'll give you Windows 12 with one module out of 20, and you'd be like, well, how much is it going to cost? I want the rest of them more than you can afford, and stuff is like,
Yeah.
like you want DirectX 12 to work for your games? Oh, that's another module.
I don't see how that would work practically. I think their current system was better. Like they have subscriptions for things like Office and various other bits and bobs, and for server related content. So I really don't see how this would actually work. It would.
Look, they're putting more research into making it work than they do with almost anything else because they want to rip us off. I mean,
well, AI will be a big part of it, won't it? I mean, for sure, I could live without the AI stuff because I could use ChatGPT, I could use Gemini. They're free to use for me for the most part. So,
I mean, I am currently using GPT a lot too, ChatGPT. But the major thing about it is the coding. So if you can get coding done in a flash, that really brings things much quicker. And now I think ChatGPT has a new app called Codex, and it's made for people who already understand code and can basically go in there and say, here's a list of stuff I want you to do. And, because they know what they're doing. They say, build this, and it just goes off and builds it like in minutes for them. Oh, thank you. Would have taken them like months.
Have you tried any of the other AIs, Gray? Do you never try Gemini, for example? Is it just ChatGPT?
No,
is there something about ChatGPT you prefer?
At the time I started, I think it was 5.1. Now it's on 5.4. They were the best at the time in coding, and I needed, for this pet project I'm doing, I needed coding. So since they were the best, I went with them, and I just kind of stuck with them. I learned so much just on what AI can do, can't do, the way you have to talk to it to make it work properly, I guess. I don't know what else to say it.
Do you say please? You say please to the AI, don't you?
Yeah, that's right. Please do it for me, please. No, it's funny. I mean, once in a while, just because you're born to be polite, usually, I might say thanks or something like that, but you don't have to. It doesn't really care if you say thanks. I mean, the interesting thing is, though, is if you say something, let's say in the course of the conversation, like a couple of times I went like, I'm beat. I'm done with this right now. We'll deal with it tomorrow. I mean, it's funny because it comes back and says, I fully understand. I know you must be tired. You did a lot of work. Gives me like a pep talk, and then says good night. And I said, okay. So, but I noticed a couple of things too. It doesn't, and things change rapidly all the time. Yeah. So when I said something like I'm taking a break, I did take a break. I didn't say how long. I said I'm taking a break. So then I come back 2 days later. It doesn't even realize it was 2 days later. It just thinks I'm still on the break. So as I started talking about a question, it talks in a different tense, and it goes like blah 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 blah. And when you come back from your break, we can do more. And I'm like, I'm not on my break. Have you realized this yet? Hello, woo, fly.
How can it not take time into consideration? Really, that's surely relevant. That's weird.
Because the funny thing about AI is, as good as it is for what it can do, I mean, it's just training. And it can only train on what exists. So you could train it so well to do something, but if you missed out on something, it's going to come up and go like, huh? Yeah. Now, yes, obviously they're moving towards AI to be more autonomous and to be able to recognize things like that. But it's funny. I mean, it does a great job. It's already written tons of code, and I've been working on this little side thing for 3 months now or more. But I always get these little things like this that are just funny, or if one time I was typing, and I did this on purpose, just want to see what it'd say. And I go like, yeah, I've been sick lately. I couldn't really get to this down. He says, well, help me feel much better. And we can get back into work. It's going to be wonderful. Like, okay.
Wow.
I mean, it's nice only because at least it's personable. I mean, it would have been, less if it just went, everything's great. We'll start right now. Okay.
Exterminate, indeed.
That's right. Extermination.
Oh,
I'm gonna start a new AI and call it Cylon AI, and just see when he picks up on it. Whatever.
It was a bit of a side tangent from us, but it's just something I remembered. Going in the chat before, and I thought it was kind of relevant to everything that's going on with AI. The last two things I got, hardware tech news side of things, is something that I didn't know much about, so I've read into it a little bit more. And that is something called Aluminium OS, or if you're from North America, Aluminium OS, coming later this year. Now, what is Aluminium OS, you ask? Well, it is, Chromebooks from Google. They're supposed to be, they need an internet connection. They're very light in their use. They use a lot of cloud-based stuff, blah, blah, blah. They've got a use and a purpose in life. Not for me. My mother uses one for work, for example. I wouldn't touch one with a 10-foot barge pole, but they've got their use out there. Google have a very successful other system called Android. You may have heard of it. And their vanilla Android, which is what they have in their Pixel devices, is very, very good at what it does without any bloatware. It works very well, and you get it in tablets and stuff as well. They've obviously said to themselves, right, we've got a very good product or products here. Why don't we bring out another operating system and base it off of Android? So they decided to start working on it, and it's nearly ready for release. It's called Aluminium OS. It'll be out before the end of this year. And the person who's behind it said they're super excited about it. They have to stress that Aluminium OS is not replacing Chrome OS. That was a concern for some people. It's building the OS around better cross-device workflows, with Android 17 already showing some signs of handoff-style features and related APIs. You see that a lot with iOS devices, Apple devices, the handoff feature. Very, very cool. The goal is to let users move app activity between devices more easily and close some of the gap with Apple's cross-device features. The guys behind the team go on to note that Chrome OS has done really well. Its management capability is second to none. Development for Chrome OS will absolutely continue as is. And the Chrome OS is also exciting as well. They're just working on a few different things at the moment. You've got Chrome OS, you've got Aluminium OS, you've obviously got their Android system, you've got Chromebooks. There's a lot of irons in the fire. Chrome OS won't be shut down, though. They do stress that at the moment. It will continue to be worked on for the moment, while they make sure they can get their Aluminium OS out and up to scratch. So for the near-term future, it won't absolutely change, to be honest with you. There is a small possibility, they note, that both OSs could remain on the market as well. So we'll need to see. It's a pretty cool thing to have, because I do remember the handoff features with Apple devices between the watches and the phones and the tablets and whatnot, and it was pretty seamless that you could literally, like my AirPods, for example, would go between my phone and my Mac really, really easily. And that's just something you get with having something in the same ecosystem. You're a little bit trapped, but it does give you more functionality. Gray, have you ever used a Chromebook? Do you know what a Chromebook is?
No, I wouldn't go near a Chromebook. I've seen them, and I get it, and I understand why they exist, for people that just basically go on the internet and want something that's a little more than just their phone. But nah, I'm like, if you're enthusiasts like we are, it's kind of like, no, that's just not going to work.
Yeah.
But it is interesting that they're doing aluminum OS, so that means or aluminium, and that's going to be or it's the kid right now, and the kid's going to take over
Yeah.
eventually.
That's pretty much what it's like. Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
the next one after aluminium OS is going to be titanium OS, and then they'll just go through all the metals until they
get to deuterium and things that don't even. Yeah.
all the weird ones like.
I found that a bit interesting because it's competition. It's always never a bad thing to have that, to be fair.
Sure.
And I use an Android phone at the moment. I use a Windows PC, which actually has something on it called Google Play Games. For those that have an Android phone, you have the Google Play Store, and you can play games on that just like you can with iOS. You can actually launch an Android version of Google Play games on your machine, and it's actually really cool. You can play the games as if it was on your phone. It's really, really smart, to be fair. I was having a play about with it before, and the synchronization's not quite the same, but it's good. It's nice to have that feature. That was something Windows 11 brought in, not at the start, but later on, Android capabilities. So you could like mirror your phone and stuff as well. And those that have an Android phone and have Windows will also know about something else called Phone Link. Let's side tangent here. Phone Link, which literally attaches to your syncs to your mobile phone for calls, texts. You can open up an app from your phone on your computer virtually, answer calls, listen to all the audio stuff, do video calls using your main camera and stuff. It's really, really cool. You don't have to rely on WhatsApp. You can absolutely do it on this as well. So, yeah, it's exciting the way it's coming. I just hope that's not something they put behind a future module in Windows 12, because that would suck a little bit.
I like the idea of the companies putting out programs that can run Android things on a PC.
Yeah.
In fact, I know everybody's talked about BlueStacks because that's supposed to be the hot one that works. So you put it on your Windows PC and you can run any kind of Android app. I don't know. I found BlueStacks a little confusing-ish, but then I found this thing quite by accident as I was going around the internet, and it's called Web Catalog. Okay.
All right.
When you hear the name, it sounds like, oh, another web catalog. I don't need that. But what it is that it will run Android devices within tabs on its app. So this web catalog will run on your PC, and then when you go into it, you go over to the app side and just make one click and installs whatever the Android app is, and you play it on there. But it's all self-contained in a browser situation. I thought that was pretty cool, and it was faster, it was quicker, it was easy to install. I haven't actually got to the point where I'm installing apps yet. I just kind of did it because it was like, oh, that's kind of cool. And I have like an app or two, that I've seen other people have that I wish I could get it onto the PC. And sometimes it's not just a matter of Android; it's a matter of like there are some Windows programs that I wish I could run on the PC. Or I should be more distinct about that. The apps that I have on my iPhone, since it's not Microsoft, that I really would like to run on the PC, but you just can't. It just doesn't. It just doesn't happen. So I'll let you know in a future podcast what it's like. But so far, I thought that was pretty cool. So
yeah,
I'll give it a try.
Yeah,
I mean, I'm not going to run a million different Android apps on it, but there are stuff I want to run, and I can't find a Windows equivalent.
It's kind of handy as long as they can have like some synchronization, because Microsoft do that a lot with their games between different platforms. So it can be done. So yeah, I hope that's something that comes. The last thing I have for the tech news side of things, I found out a little bit more about this recently, and I find it pretty fascinating. And that's that Microsoft confirms Project Helix codename for next Xbox mentions
Helix.
PC game support. Now, the reason I find this interesting, Gray, is right. Xbox, Microsoft have not been doing so good with sales of their Xbox, right? It's not something they're willing to make a loss on, reduce the price. It's the more expensive console at the moment. They haven't sold as many, but where they do well is their Game Pass, and that's why Game Pass prices went up. That's, anything's an Xbox is essentially their motto. So they thought, right, okay, we're seeing what's happening with these new gaming handhelds. We are seeing how good the SoCs are for the graphics with these new Intel Panther Lake chips that came out. We're seeing the success of things like the Steam Deck, and obviously the announcement of the Steam Machine. But I mean, obviously, this was probably thought well ahead of the Steam Machine. And they thought, we want to have a piece of the cake and eat it. And information comes from the Microsoft Gaming CEO, Asha Sharma. I don't know if that's the person who took over from Big Phil, but that's who's in charge at the moment, who posted an X after an internal Team Xbox meeting. Sharma said Project Helix will lead in performance and will play your Xbox and PC games, and added that she plans to discuss it with partners and studios at her first GDC next week. On top of that, Xbox official X account also acknowledged the code name in a separate post. Microsoft, of course, has not shared any specifications, release timings, pricing, product names, whatnot. But for now, the messaging is limited to the code name and promise of cross-library support across Xbox and PC titles. Gray, this sounds like a more expensive, fancier version of a Steam machine to me.
Yeah, and what I don't understand is if you're in Xbox, you already have PC games, obviously, that you can play. There's nothing that's Xbox console only. The whole point they're doing this is that you can play it anywhere. So I'm a little confused. I mean, they're saying that the new Xbox is going to play PC games. So the only thing the new console is going to do that didn't do before is it's going to be now it's not going to be just a console. Yeah. It's going to be a PC/console hybrid thing. And I'm like, so? I mean, I understand maybe some people will like it for maybe a convenience or something, but I'm sorry. My first impression is I don't care less. Big deal. I'm not going to pay the money for that. I mean, it's stupid. But, obviously I'm coming from the PC side, so everything I play is on PC. But,
yeah,
I'm more angry. I understand why they're doing it, but I'm more angry with PlayStation because, they made the announcement that the games are no longer going to be PC, or they're not going to port them over ever. Or if they do port them over, it's going to be years from now. And I'm like, damn, man. So all the good games we've been playing on PC that they've ported over, like after a year or something, that would mean Horizon, that would mean a God of War, et cetera, et cetera. And now it's like, great. So now I got to go out and do what I did once. And that's, they have particular emulator, or whatever you want to call it, programs where you can play, but you still got to have a PlayStation to do it. The programs only allow you to use keyboard and mouse. You still got to have the PlayStation. So I don't want to go buy an expensive PlayStation just because I want to get those games and I don't want to use a controller. So I'm like, oh man, this sucks.
Should have kept hold of your grandson's PlayStation.
Well, you still got it. I could borrow it, but I mean, it's like, but I mean, I don't know. They say that the statistics are that they can prove that keeping it under PlayStation's belt is better than trying to open it up later. But I don't know if I get that, because if it's a whole year has gone by and then you put it on PC, they're saying that the sales aren't good enough when they go to PC to be worth the effort. I'm like, I don't get it. I really don't.
I think to answer your question, Gray, is well, they don't officially confirm it, far from it. The idea of being able to play PC games means Steam, Epic, GOG, other stores, which you cannot do at the moment. You could only do something similar to that once the Steam machine launches. So I think in my opinion, the new Xbox will be a more premium, advanced, powerful version of a Steam machine. The Steam machine will be leveled at your mid-range kind of PC console hybrid, which I do think is a good idea. Very customizable, and it opens up the market to so many other people. But your Xbox will be the premium one with the high-end chip and whatnot, and it'll be able to play things a lot better. So it's good to have competition. It's good to have different options out there. They're trying to pivot quite a lot, Microsoft, because they know that they're not winning the war. And as I discussed with Hans last week, I think it was, shame you weren't around for that, Gray, but I understand you were under the weather. We were discussing the whole PlayStation probably reversing its decision to do first-party games on PC. Now, believe it or not, it sounds like I often try to stick up for PlayStation and Sony. I actually sit on the fence a lot, to the point where I get splinters in my arse. I actually just like to try and call it as I see it from the fence, and some people like that, some people don't. At the end of the day, my analogy to Gray to Gray and Hans was, if I come to, this is for Gray's probably heard this, if I go to Gray's house and I want to play football with him, my football, and I start having a kickabout, and then he does something to annoy me and I take my ball away, he then gets upset and kicks up, fuss, and I go, Gray, it's my ball. I'm taking it home. He doesn't like it, but there's nothing he can do about it.
Yeah.
So is it a dick move? Yes. Is it unfair? No, in my opinion, because it is their IP. It is their IP. Now,
I'm not blame. Well, I don't know about blaming, but I don't think it's unfair. And I totally understand from a business perspective. I just think it's kind of, I don't know what the right word would be. I just think it's silly because people want to play the game and then they're forced into a console and controller when they're solely PC, keyboard, mouse. So,
yeah, I prefer the days of exclusivity. I know Hans will be turning in his deathbed hearing something like this, but for me, it was, you choose which console you want, where your loyalty was. I know why they're doing that, because they were losing money, really. I think essentially they were only making 1 or 2% of their global profits from the PC sales, and that's because when they launched the game on PlayStation, they wouldn't launch it at the same time on PC. I would get it. I totally get it. They want to make their money before, because some people might choose a PC over the PlayStation to lose their money, so they launch it a bit later, they get some of their money back. But the problem you've got with that is they weren't making a lot of money doing that. They were paying all this money to get it ported across, and they were cutting down the time for releases more and more and more. So it would come out only a few months or 6 months after it came out on PlayStation. And then some people would play it, but they weren't seeing a lot of viewing figures for that, or a lot of playing figures, sorry. So they decided to possibly pull the plug in that one, instead of wasting the hundreds of millions it potentially takes. But they are smart, not stupid, and it looks like they'll probably will launch cross-party, like live service games, because Sony have a hard-on for live service games. They really do.
Yeah.
They will continue to release them on different platforms at the same time. Why? Because a live service game usually needs more than just one platform's worth of players to make it viable. So that makes sense to launch it on 2 or 3 different platforms. So I'm kind of bummed, because I got rid of my PlayStation 5, which sucks. So I'm going to have to get it back again. Because I generally love their first-party games. I generally do. Like, some of the best games I've ever played are on that platform. That then came out in the PC later on. So, that's one of these things that's annoying. But
I wonder how long they're going to stick with that. I got a feeling it might be a couple of years and then they're going to go back.
Well, it's not officially even confirmed, Gray. That's the thing. It's just heavy rumor. It does make sense. It's rumor that I believe, because it does make business sense. The PS6 will come out probably in a couple of years' time. There was rumors it might get delayed, but it goes back to the original point I made to you, Gray, that orders for RAM and stuff and components are put in years in advance. So something like the PlayStation 6, which will sell a shit ton more than probably even the Steam machine will, they will have got their order in a little while ago. So I don't think it will be delayed to 2028 or 2029. I reckon it'll still come out by the end of next year, 2028 at the latest. and it's well and truly in the high-end development at the moment. So might even be finalized.
I'll give you an interesting scenario, although I don't think this will happen, but it'd be cool. What if Steam were to enter in an agreement with Sony, and basically Steam would be the only PC source for these games after they've already appeared on PlayStation, nobody else?
I get where you're coming from. That's
because they can make a little extra money if Steam were to say, "Oh, I'll give you, I'm making it up, $1 million for the license to do blah blah blah."
Yeah,
I mean, that would be guaranteed money, and Steam would be exclusive.
It's not a bad idea. The reason I don't think it will happen is because Microsoft want to make it. Remember their slogan? They're saying an Xbox can be anything, play anywhere.
Yeah.
If you're then saying, "Oh, you can play PC, but only Steam games. You can't play anything else. It's not open." Then it's not their slogan. It's not the way they want to do it. I get it. Like, exclusivity is not Xbox's thing. It's Steam's. It's Steam. No, it's not even Steam's thing. It's more Sony's thing, I guess. To be fair, so I like your idea though. Why not?
Well, I was thinking if you're competing, maybe Epic would do it to get a one-up on Steam.
Well, Epic's, we discussed this with ads as well last week. Epic's player is nowhere near as, or launcher is nowhere near as good as Steam's and other ones, despite
I agree,
charging less than half the price.
But from a marketing aspect, yeah, it would be. I think it would be very good for them if they could. Yeah. So whether it works or not, totally, I don't know. But if we're just dreaming here, I'm thinking like Epic would be a big feather in their cap, to be able to get that. So
yeah.
Like I said, I don't know. I don't know if we'll ever see it, but
no, probably not. To be honest, with you man. But I watch this space. Anything's possible. Essentially, when it comes to if there's enough money on the table, anything's possible. But yeah, so watch that space. That is me for now for the tech news. Great.
Alrighty, we're gonna go into some game news because we always flop back and forth because everybody loves it. And there's a guy, his name is Bryant Francis. He is the senior editor at GameDeveloper.com. If you've ever seen the site, it's very interesting, but it's obviously slanted more towards developers but if you want to kind of get into the background of what developers go through, it's a pretty cool site. So this guy, being the senior editor, decided that he is going to make his own top 10 list for games of the year for 2025, what he feels were the top games for 2025. So I always have fun with these on the podcast because I want to see whether it's either A, we've ever heard of it, or B, whether you all agree, because sometimes no one agrees on any of this. But these are games that go across too, so it wouldn't be just PC. They could cover other things too. So I'll go through the list a little bit, and then we can see what we got here. First one's a no-brainer, like Clear Obscure Expedition 33. You think? It's like... So that one, again, is a no-brainer. No reason to even spend any time on that one. Here's one I'd never heard of, but it's called Blueprints by Dogubomb Raw Fury. Is the group, the developer, whatever. And I'm like, not sure what it is, but apparently it looks like a more of a mystery story. Like you're in a mansion, you got to look for clues to solve whatever mystery is going on, which is kind of cool. There's not a lot of those games out anymore. I remember they used to come out all the time. You remember Myst? When Myst came out many years ago, I thought it was like, oh, this is really cool. And it was one of the first games to get some really nice looking graphics too, which was kind of cool.
I don't think I've played it, actually.
Yeah, they have Myst 1 and Myst 2. I played both. It was a very long time ago, but I thought that the graphics then were ahead of the game. Nobody was doing stuff like that, at that time.
I was just looking at who this chap was. Senior editor at GameDeveloper.com.
Yeah. I mean, I figure, if he's got that title, he should know a little something, I suppose. The next one he puts up is one of his best for 2025 is News Tower. I haven't heard this one before, but apparently it's you have to do news and you have to decide whether the story gets into by a deadline. So it's kind of like running an old style newspaper, back in the 40s or something. And whether you can actually run the newspaper, get the stories you need to get to the scene of the crime, so forth. I mean, from a difference, side point, it's anything different is interesting to try. than some of the usual stuff that we see. So, yeah, I don't know if anybody out there's played it, but it looks interesting.
There's some interesting choice of games in this list, man. I must admit.
I know that's why I looked. I'm going out. I said, "Wow, this is some different stuff." This next game we've heard mentioned in many different lists. Hades 2.
Yeah.
They get pretty much mentioned just like Claire Obscure does. I never played it, but I might have to break down and play it because I just keep reading more and more stuff about this and that people are really into it and everything. So it's like they said it's more like a Greek mythology-ish kind of thing, which I would think you'd like, maybe.
No, it's Norse mythology, remember?
Well, they're all the same. You just put
All the
different
same.
names.
That's blasphemy.
They just put different names on it. I mean, come on. That's all the Roman guys. That's all the Roman gods did. They just look at the Greek and go, "Oh, we'll just take that guy and call him something different."
The Norse gods would absolutely wipe the floor with the Greek gods and then get pissed in Valhalla afterwards. Right?
That would be fun to go to Valhalla and see these guys fighting. So 80s, that I keep hearing good things about that. So that kind of mentions that sounds interesting.
Not my cup of tea. Big popular game, not my cup of tea, but I understand why it's there. Now
the next two I find very surprising. He put Obsidian Games 2 games together. He says The Outer Worlds 2 and Avowed. And I'm looking at this and I'm going like, okay, first of all, Outer Worlds 2 is not doing nearly as well as the first one. While I haven't heard bad things about it, I haven't heard anything great either. They're basically saying it's just pretty much the same stuff as before.
Why is it put both games together?
Well, I don't know. His reasoning was
count.
He says, I'm cramming both of Obsidian Entertainment's excellent, I don't know about that, role-playing games into one slot because I frankly can't pick which one compelled me more. And then he writes how much he likes Avowed, and Avowed was like, man, I started playing that game and I just couldn't handle it. And it wasn't for the fact that the writing was okay. The basic characters were interesting, but everything else was bizarre. That's the one we talked about a lot on this channel here and there when it first came out. And that is that nothing moves or does anything in the game. All the NPCs are like stupid and just sit there and don't even realize you when you're bashing people's heads in or killing them. They just react the same. And then at night, the same NPCs are still at the same tree or at the same house or at the same bridge, still doing the same thing. Doesn't matter. They're up 24 hours a day, and so in the gameplay, there's no blood, no broken bones, nothing. They just get hit with something like, oh, and that's about it.
It's shit then. Don't like it.
Exactly.
No blood,
and
no gore.
These are great. They're two of the greatest games. I love them so much.
So it's a million miles away from Doom is what you're saying.
Oh, hell yeah. Jesus. Now here's another one called Dispatch. I haven't heard this, but it seems to be more of an animated show kind of look. Right. The only thing I just think is funny though is one of the characters they have in there, this big guy. He looks just like what's his name from Moana.
I've not seen that. I don't know. You tell me.
If you've seen Moana 1 or I think 2's coming, it's okay. It's supposed to be a superhero story with mature riffs. Okay.
Right.
So they use a couple of bad words, maybe? I don't know. I'm not really sure. All right, we'll go to the next one. Back to the Dawn by Metalhead Games, we have heard of. I don't know a whole lot about it. I'll try to explain it to you a little. Apparently it's a surprise Steam hit. Okay. Fueled by a Chinese audience. He checked it out. Few in the Western game development world probably played this one. No kidding. Said it right there. Let's see. I don't know. I don't see anything unusual. You're a journalist. Wait a minute. You're a journalist or you're an undercover cop? I guess you got to make your mind up. And you're racing to escape from prison in a gritty Zootopia. That's the movie with all the animated animals, which is very good, actually. Okay. Inspired world filled with a pulpy cast of characters. Okay. I don't know. Anybody? I'm just letting people know out there about these games that you can always write to us and tell us if you played them or even like them.
That's the thing about Steam. There is a lot of hidden gems, and it's very hard to get exposure if you're willing to go through them and try a lot of them. A lot more of them should offer demos so that you can at least find out what's what. But
they've been offering a lot of demos, much more than I've seen in the past. which is nice. At least you get a chance. Hell, I have a hard enough time keeping up with the 8 or 10 games I've gotten recently, and I've only played an average of 2 hours each or whatever. Or whatever. Especially Doom. I played more of the new Doom, but I'm not even a third of the way.
God, and there'll be DLC probably coming out the end of the year or something.
Did you have a story about that? Because I did read about it. I didn't want to step on your...
No, I didn't. No. I think I mentioned it last week, possibly the week before, that there's DLC coming out, and the DLC is as big. Or did I have it there? Yeah, the DLC is probably going to be its own size of game. It's huge, apparently, and I don't know if there's 1 or 2 bits, but I've already got the premium edition in, so it'll just drop when it drops. Although I haven't finished the game yet either, Gray. So yeah.
Yeah, but the good thing is if the DLC is actually that large, wow, that's like 2 games in one. I wonder what they're going to charge for it. Hopefully not too much.
No, it's not free. The DLC is never free, mate. You pay for the premium edition, or you pay for the DLC in its own, but it's usually reasonably priced. So
yeah, I wouldn't care. I mean, the Doom is so good, it doesn't matter. I'll just mention 1 or 2 more games. He did say Metroid Prime 4 Beyond as one of the best.
A quick note on that, Greg, a quick word on that. I'm not really a Metroid fan, but it's a massive IP. And that was the game that was delayed. It was announced at the start of the Switch One's life cycle, 2017, yeah. And it never came out until last year. It got rebooted a couple of times. It was ridiculous how long it took. It launched on the Switch One, and it done fairly well. It is a pretty popular game. Never really been a big fan of that franchise. What about you, Gray?
When I did play one long ago when it came out, and the reason I liked it was because it's science fiction, so it was cool. Now my son's always been into Nintendo, everything. So one day we hooked it up to our big screen. So we have a 55-inch television watching him. I'm watching him play Metroid. I'll tell you, boy, it looked good.
Connect what with the Switch?
Yeah,
Switch 1, 2.
2. He put 2 and put it on the big screen.
Yeah,
and it was
because it's 4K 60. It's actually a 4K game. One of the few games you can actually get in the Switch 2 that's 4K.
Yeah, my 55 inches is 4K. Yeah. So I'm sitting there watching the game, and it looked great on a monitor that big. What's fun about it because, he's real good at his Nintendo games. So I would have just floundered around. So he was able to get through stuff because he's been playing it. And I'm just watching this going like, wow, this is pretty cool.
Yeah.
I mean, the scene with the parts where she turns into the ball and rolls around, the perspective, the view was so cool because you saw it drop into a ball. And then as she rolls off, it's like a drone camera following right behind her. And that looked really great. It looked really, really good. So I was like, all right, this is nice. That would be one game that I would, if I were going to do it, I would try to play, even though I might not be all that great at it, but yeah.
Yeah. Don't mess with Samson. She's a badass.
Yep. Definitely do not. That's pretty much it for that particular story. So we'll just kind of move on to the next thing. If you've been listening to the podcast for a while, I'm a big Division 2 fan. I bought it when it came out years ago. I guess about 7 years? They're celebrating 10 years at Division, but that's Division 1. So that's been pretty interesting. So when I heard about some new stuff with Division 2, I was just going like, ooh. They recently released a Brooklyn something DLC that I picked up. I haven't played it yet, to be honest, but it was inexpensive. And if it's something new with Division 2, I'll try it. But to this day, I still think, in my opinion, that Division 2 is probably one of, if not the best looter shooters around. And the game is still going strong after all these years. And the graphics still look great.
That's a bold statement, Mr. Gray. That's a bold statement.
I know. And I briefly played it on the 5090, which I never have. And I thought it looked great before. And now I'm looking at the 5090 and go like, whoa, all right, we're a little step up here.
Not breaking a sweat either, probably.
Oh, hell no. I was getting 223 frames per second at Ultra, everything high. And I'm like, cool. Wow. Anyway, Ubisoft has been updating the game, obviously, and releasing new stuff for years. They do their seasons. I'm not particularly into the seasons that much because I understand why, but it's just that it's seasons placed over the top of the same maps.
That's kind of like for the hardcore players that want regular, smaller little tidbits of content as they go along, whereas the DLC stuff is what it's really about for the majority of players.
Yeah, it depends on who it is. I mean, I consider myself close to hardcore, but not to the mega hardcore. We'll call it.
You don't play it enough to be considered that.
I played 900 hours in that game.
No. I mean, like, I don't see you on playing it regular.
Not regular, but I'll still pop in. But now I have more reason to go back since I got the new DLC, and now apparently there's new stuff. So the latest thing that they're talking about is they're instituting what they call a realism mode, and this is going to be available for free up until April 2nd. I don't know. There hasn't been any news as to whether they're going to make it normal, all the time. I'm sure they will, because people have already been playing and saying it's great. So I'm hoping that it'll stay, or when it goes out, that if you have to pay for it, it's not going to be too expensive. But anyway, the realism mode does what you would think. It chops away a lot at the HUD map and the hit markers, so your screen is not giving you back quite as much information as it would in the normal mode. And what they did is they're making it easier for you to kill the enemies, shooting them and stuff, but there's no health regen. Your ammo is limited, and you'll need to acquire the ammo only from the people you killed. So it's easier to kill your opponent, but a lot harder to stay alive. Other than that, so you'll be doing, and they also going to make you to the weather conditions. So if it's snowing, you're going to get cold, and it takes on some survival skill type game mechanics to where you're going to have to like either eat something or keep warm, and so that you can run from one thing to the other.
So Craig, sorry to interrupt, mate. Can I just confirm that this mode is something that you have to download, update the game with something? Is it a temporary mode that'll be available in game and then removed, or what?
Well, all I know is they said that it's free up till April 2nd. They haven't made any other announcements, so I don't know whether they're just going to flip a switch and you can't use it, or the next update you load will unload that.
Right.
But I think they're being very cautious because they want to see if it's making a good impression. And so far, it seems like a lot of people are really liking it. One of the other reasons they did it too was because of the anniversary. They wanted to make something special, if they could. So, and they also said that they cut the price down to like $5 on Division 2 main game just for this period. Not that it's that expensive anyway. You can get it for a pretty good price.
I thought you said it was. Is this the DLC? I thought you said it was free. Am I confused?
No. DLC. This mode, or the realism mode, is free.
Right,
the last DLC they put out, which was Brooklyn something, that cost, but it wasn't expensive.
Right. Okay. Got you.
But they were lowering the price of the main game way down just for people to pick up on it. Obviously, they're looking at this. Obviously, they're keeping very good track of it. To lower the price of the game down to like nothing, it allows them to have a sample size of how many people enjoy the realism mode. So I'm going to try to jump back into the game over the next couple of weeks to try all this stuff, and I'll report it back on the podcast.
Why do you think they wouldn't just keep that mode in place? I mean, if it ends up being popular, why remove something that people like? I don't get that.
Well, here's the thing. They didn't say they were going to remove it. They didn't say that they wouldn't either. So it's free up till April 2nd, and that's all they're saying. I can't not believe that if it's successful, which it seems to be, by April 2nd, they're going to do something. They're either going to leave it in for free or charge a small sum, or something. I find it hard to believe that they went through all that. The only reason they wouldn't do it is if it bombed big time, and apparently it's not bombing big time. So you also can't, when you start basically with a new character, and you're not going to be able to min-max your build is like you could on the main game. There's going to be limitations to certain things. You're not going to be able to buy any weapons. You're going to have to find the weapons out in the open. See, I like some of this stuff. This sounds kind of interesting. So as you're out there, eliminating your enemies, you need to go find out what kind of guns they got. If they got anything good, you keep it. But it's going to be quite, different, or quite more real. So we'll see where that goes. But the other thing too, I was reading here, they said the skills are going to have longer cooldowns. Right now, I think the skills are. I mean, if you don't, upgrade anything on your own during the game, it can be as long as a 40-second cooldown before you can use it. Another special, meaning like a mines or whatever. You got little special drones and things like that. And I don't know what they mean about longer cooldowns. They don't really say, but I'm expecting if the longest cooldown now is 40 seconds, they're probably going to double it. That's what I'm thinking.
Right.
So it's going to make it harder now to use some of these special, things that you have, but they left it in. You can use them. It's just going to be a little tougher now. It's going to add more strategy, I think, to the game, which is kind of cool because now you're going to really have to think and keep track of a little bit more than you normally do. So I'm game. Get it?
Oh God.
Anyway, that's my stuff on the game side of things, and got a few things to go into too with games. So take it away.
Yep. This is a game I've not played, but I find this rather amusing. Not for people that bought the game. Apologies up front. 3 months after closing the Game Awards, Highguard is officially shutting down.
Jeez.
Developer Wildlight says it hasn't been able to attract enough players to the free-to-play shooter. Now, I remember seeing this at the end of the Game Awards thinking, yeah, it's kind of cool. I like the sound of this. I like the look of this. It launched on January 26th. But despite initially reaching millions of players, according to its developer, player numbers quickly plummeted, and Wildlight laid off most of its development team the following month. Now, the California-based studio has confirmed that Highguard will shut down entirely on probably by the time you hear this, actually March 12th. And it says, actually, I won't read out all their tweet, but they say that today they're sharing the difficult news of made the decision to permanently shut down Highguard on March the 12th. Since launch, more than 2 million players stepped into Highguard's world, who shared feedback, created control, and many believe in what we're building. For that, we are deeply grateful. And they say that despite the passion and hard work of their team, they've not been able to build a sustainable player base to support the game in the long term, etc., etc. Now, this is the risk of live service games. We've seen it with Sony. Yeah. Sony can afford that, although it sings. They shut down a whole bloody studio just after spending hundreds of millions of dollars on it. They can afford that. This company cannot. I don't really know what they're thinking, trying to come out with a game so bold and big, because it's a free-to-play game, I believe, as well. So they didn't even have the funding of initial game cost up front to keep them going. So I think some bad planning there rough. Somewhere. Yeah, that is very tough, man. I mean, like when I see pictures of it, it does actually look pretty good, but it's. I think people were interested in the start. Let's have a look at it, especially after like Concord and whatnot shut down. But looking at this game, it's a kind of, how would you describe it? A kind of hero shooter genre type game. We've seen it before. We've seen it multiple times before, sure. and like Overwatch is one of the biggest successful examples of that. Why would people want to ditch another game for it unless it was better? So yeah, that's a crying shame. I never like to see anyone in the gaming industry lose.
The thing I heard is that they were calling it Concord 2, and you have a story coming up from Marathon. Now they're calling that Concord 3. I'm like, oh no.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll definitely get to that because that is batshit crazy, man. I'll be honest with you. So yeah, Gray touched upon it just there. This is about Marathon, the game from Bungie, the extractor shooter genre. I was saying last week to Hans, I played initial impressions for a couple of hours. I enjoyed what I saw and I played in the server test, to be honest with you. Would I buy the game? Probably not. And that's not a slight on the game. It's just you have to be something exceptional these days to grab the average gamer's attention because there's so many choices out there, especially for PC gamers. And, you know, I did like it. It was cool. It looked good. Although one of the headlines in the gaming news section that I read said, Gray, that it was like the guy that reviewed it said it's like playing inside an NVIDIA graphics card because of the color scheme and it's very monotone like that. So
is it mostly green?
I like greens and yellows and stuff like that, you know. So,
Yes.
you know, I like to look at it, but it doesn't do anything special, unique. It is priced well. It's not a free game. It's £35 or probably $40, I'd imagine. That's a good price. There'll obviously be battle passes and stuff in there to supplement it. They won't be pay to win. It'll just be battle passes and stuff like that, and skins and all that, which is fine. I have no issues with that.
Yeah.
It is between PC and PlayStation, so that's why Sony are, let's say, they're keeping their live service games out there for multiple platforms, so they have the player count for it. We won't know how it does yet because it launches Friday by the time you listen to this, watch this. So the server slam was successful, I believe, put the servers under a bit of strain. It done pretty well. So once we find out how it does, we'll report it. I, for one, want it to do well because I like Bungie, because they make one of my favourite games in Destiny 2, and I want them to have the funds for Destiny 3 to continue making that.
Now they keep putting out this stuff.
Well, this is mainly what this article is about. So the artist whose work was used in Marathon without permission has been credited as a visual design consultant. So just to give you a recap of what was happening. So in May 2025, Scottish artist Fern Hook accused Bungie of taking assets from her previous work and using it in the alpha for Marathon. After investigating the allegations, Bungie later acknowledged that Hook's claims were accurate and claimed that a former staff member was responsible for taking her art. The developer then pulled all the gameplay footage from its following live stream and said it was conducting a thorough review process to remove any of the art from in-game. 7 months pass. Hook, this is Fern Hook, not Captain Hook all of a sudden, posts on her X account about what was happening. She said, the Marathon art issue has been resolved with Bungie and Sony Interactive Entertainment to my satisfaction. She didn't make it clear at the time what the terms of resolutions were, probably because she had to sign away for it, nor made it clear whether her post on X was one of the conditions of the agreement. But essentially, you do see it in a screenshot there that she's the only person that's got this category: visual design consultant, Fern Hook, anti-real. I believe that's her username there, anti-real. So that's the minimum you do. You acknowledge the person. You say, sorry for what happened. One of our guys decided to take some of your art, whether they meant to or not. We'd like to compensate you for that. And we'd also like to use your art style, just your style, not your actual art, for the remainder of the game. Here's some fat cash. What do you say? And she's probably went, yes, let's do it. Yes, that works for me.
Or she looked at the check and said, well, you need to kind of add another zero, and then it's all cool.
Yeah, exactly. Right. And that's going to cost Bungie as well. Like I think they're an American studio, and she's in Scotland, so that's dollars to pounds. That's going to cost them a little bit more money.
There you go.
So she goes on to say, Fern, that she says, personally, I have a huge amount of respect and admiration for artists working independently, producing, making a living, doing commercial or fine art. We've worked with many of them. It's one of my favourite parts of the job to make these connections, create content, and collaborate. So, in fact, no, apologies. This is art director Joseph Cross behind the game that actually said that. Apologies. He says to that. So, to that extent, I want to send my personal apologies to Fern, whose work was used in this case. I now know how unfair this feels, and we're doing everything we can to make this right. Her work is fantastic, and we clearly share a mutual appreciation for a specific genre of graphic design, and I'm excited to have folded that into her style in general. So, that's I think that's the right way to fix this, and everything's fair and everyone's happy at the end of the day. Any thoughts on that, Gray? Are Bungie still bad guys, or have they done the right thing? And
Well, I think that what they did is they did it at the right time, because they knew that the public opinion was going against them big time, and it was only going to get a lot worse. So basically, you got to put the fire out before it becomes, consumes your whole house.
Yeah.
So I think what they did was right. Plus, obviously, she knew she was in the right. Otherwise, why would she pursue it?
Yeah.
I mean, and I don't blame her one bit. If you're using it and you didn't get her permission, well, again, you deserve what you get. If they were smart, they would have either just said something before this, get ahead of the cart and say something before this. Would have cost them less money, less trouble, less headache, but they waited. And so everything got worse, and then they had to pay out more money. And
well, I think they were doing their investigation. I think they had to find out what was going on. I don't think that member of staff is with them anymore, funnily enough. So maybe they done it without anyone's know-how.
I love when they say investigation. I mean, this is pretty cut and dry. I mean, it's not that hard. You don't have to drill down that much. Just go look at the parts of the game and then compare it to what you had or what she had. Hello, that shouldn't have took long at all. I could have done that in a few hours for them.
Oh, well. Gray's such a nice guy to offer his services like that.
That's right.
It had to be sorted because there was too much money already involved in them making Marathon. This is Sony's biggest live service game studio, if you want. So they had to get this right. They didn't want to be another Concord. I don't think it will be, to be honest with you. I also think it was delayed.
From what I've seen.
I also don't think it's. I do think it is delayed a little bit because of this whole shenanigans. They had to go in and remove those bits of art and update them and get permissions and pay out compensation. So, yeah, other technical issues as well for delaying it, of course, but because it was delayed a little bit. It was supposed to come out September last year, I want to say. Something like that. So, yeah.
Yeah, I think so. Early.
So, yeah, hopefully put to bed. And I hope it does kind of well, although it's not really my thing. The last thing I've got, and this is, I just laugh and shake my head at this, man.
I'm laughing at the title without even looking at the article.
Yeah. Sony is testing dynamic pricing on the PlayStation Store. Now, maybe not quite what it sounds like, but I'll explain. Users in certain regions are being offered personalized discounts of up to 17%. So you might assume that's people getting charged more in certain countries, but this is actually putting a different spin on it. Certain people getting offered personalized discounts up to 17%. This was according to PS Store price tracker PES Prices, which has detected the price changes across more than 100 games, with users being offered personalized discounts of up to 17.6%. Now, dynamic pricing, also known as surge pricing, is a pricing strategy that sees businesses set flexible prices for products based on demand or a customer's unique purchase history. The use of dynamic pricing has been criticized by some consumers in other industries for its perceived unfairness. I would like to add to that personally. For me, I found out about this dynamic pricing, I want to say beginning of last year, the end of 2024, when I was trying to get tickets for the Oasis gig reunion that we're doing. And I went on to Ticketmaster and I saw one price. There was a technical issue. I went back in again and the price went up nearly double. And I was like, it's the same seat. Turns out dynamic pricing was in there. The more popular something is, the more they can put the price up. I was disgusted and outraged. Ticketmaster tried to blame the management company behind Oasis. The management company tried to blame Oasis, said they'd informed the artists of this and they'd signed off on it. It's just bloody greedy. This is why I don't go to gigs anymore. They're too expensive, and dynamic pricing is disgusting. So try to do that with games is bold. Now, it is just a test, Gray. They are just testing it at the moment.
Yeah.
If they can make money from it, they probably will implement it. I'm curious in your opinion, right? So they offer discounts of up to 17.6%, right, in certain regions. Do you see that as a discount for some people, or do you see that as a price increase for others? You see where I'm coming from for that one?
I pretty much see it as stealing from the public in the plain sight, essentially.
Is it Robin Hood stealing from the rich to give to the poor?
It's worse than that because you see it happen before your eyes and you go like, do it to me again. No problem. Like, I mean, I think that's whenever you hear something like testing dynamic, first of all, the word dynamic and pricing shouldn't really be together. Yeah, and it's not just this too. I mean, you see it all over. You see it here in the States. You see it over in UK. I mean, I think it's a joke. I'm sitting there going, "Oh, we sold more than 20 tickets, so just double the price." And then when we sell 100, bring it up again. And then when we sell it, I'm like, "Come on, man! You set the price for tickets. It's the way it used to be, and you have your more expensive tickets and maybe your better seats from the stage, or if they're sky boxes or whatever. But you set it at one price." And then you only raise that price each year if your costs go up and whatever. But to sit there and make it dynamic for a product that should cost, like, I'm just making it up, $50, and then all of a sudden, before you know it, 3 weeks later or 3 months later, is 175. Nothing changed. Just that more people we're all getting penalized because the game's selling better.
It's not like supply and demand with something like, I don't know, fuel or electricity or something, or this is something that is a software item. There's unlimited numbers of these things, so that's what makes it a little bit more disgusting. If there's only so much fuel left in the world, supply demand makes sense. Whether it's it sucks, but it makes sense. But yeah, this is a bit greedy.
Why can't they just stick to all the little fluff items that you can buy that you really want, or the cosmetics? There are a lot of people that buy that stuff. It's not a pay to win thing. I mean, I'm guilty of it. Not really guilty. It's because I wanted it.
I do it for I do it for Rust all the time, and I don't even play it anymore. I don't want to miss out.
Yeah,
that's the only game I pay for skins.
With Elite Dangerous right now, they've been going through a really decent growth pace, and then they released a bunch of new ships, which I haven't done in years. I bought every one of them as soon as it came out. I'm getting ready to buy the new one now. Now you don't have to use cash to buy it. You can wait 3 months, and when it passes that 3-month period, you can then buy it in game. But
You're nuts. You're nuts. I'm sorry, that's different. You're bonkers.
No, wait.
Okay.
But there is 1 or 2 special modules that will not be in the one that you buy in the game.
Sounds like Windows 12.
Yeah, there you go. It's all modular. So my point though being is that if you want it that badly, and I do, I'm not going to sit there and act stupid about it. I wanted it, so I just bought it. I don't do it that often. I don't go crazy. I don't have that much disposable income to go like I want every freaking thing. But the point is that there's plenty of people that do it, and I've seen some sales figures. They make a crap load of money off that side stuff. So just keep doing that. Why do you have to screw us some more with dynamic pricing and everything else? I mean, it just gets you burnt, man. It's just no wonder nobody wants to play games or not play games, but to pay for games anymore when they go up to $80, $91, $120, and then they go, hey, listen, we're going to do dynamic pricing. Next thing you know, when you buy your game, it's a $70 game, but as soon as they sell 10,000 copies, now it's an $80 game. And then when they sell 100,000 copies, hey, now it's a $90 game. If they could do it, they will do it and try to get away with it.
Of course they will, man. Yeah. It's just to finish off in the same article there. The kind of price differences we're seeing at the moment with this range from discounts of 5% and 17.6%, and it includes first-party games like God of War, Ragnarok, Spider-Man 2, Helldivers 2, Stellar Blade.
Games that have been out for years.
Yeah, Gran Turismo 7 and The Last of Us Part 2. But there's third-party games in there as well, from 2K, Focus Entertainment, Deep Silver, Bethesda, Rockstar are part of the testing. Now, it says here, Sony has been A/B testing prices for the last 3 months in 30 different regions, and is now doing so in nearly 70 regions, including Europe, the Middle East, Asia, Latin America, and Africa. The US and Japan are not included, likely due to stricter regulations, it's claimed. The US, strict regulations? I thought it was the Wild West.
Sure,
I thought at one point you could do what you wanted, almost.
They're not going to tell you what everybody knows, that we buy a crap load of games over here in the US, so they don't want to introduce anything to shake that boat, because if they do, they lose a lot of customers. And that's the real reason. It's not just because we just did it because no. The reason is money. That all revolves around money. So that's BS.
Yeah, I know. the reason I mentioned this is I didn't ever think I would see it in gaming, and they're testing it. So
shocking.
It's I mean, it's a good thing that I got my PlayStation account or a different way. I moved abroad unofficially until at least 2028, and I got it way cheaper.
There are ways.
There's another thing here that it's not on the notes. I wanted to briefly cover it. It's slightly older news, but it was something to do with Fallout 76, Gray. Now, because of the popularity of the TV show, I think it's out now. It came out on March the 3rd, and that's called the Backwoods DLC. It's called the Backwoods. It adds new cryptic challenges and new content. Bigfoot appears as a dangerous rare boss with unique rewards and unpredictable encounters. Actually, come to think of it, see if you guys have obviously not met Gray in real life. I could see Gray being a Bigfoot. Big tall guy, white hair, grey hair. I could see that.
I probably weigh him as much as one.
He probably looks and sounds like one when he's getting up in the middle of the night for a pee. You know, when you feel like you're half dead. Probably looks and sounds like one then. So that poor dog, Coco, probably scared shitless.
But then again, if I was that, I'd be really hung well. But anyway.
What the fuck? Oh, my. I don't want my dinner anymore.
I'm hanging up stuff. What are you talking about? I don't know what you're thinking of. Gee, man.
I've met Gray in real life. He is a tall SOB. He is very tall. What you 6'1", 6 foot?
No.
6
if I had to be really strict about it, it technically be 5'11", but it's close to 6. So,
because I'm taller than him. I'm like 6'1", so every inch counts. You know what I'm saying?
Everybody wears shoes, so then you become 6'1".
Oh God! You sound like what's his face, Tom Cruise, with his platforms on to make himself look bigger than he actually is, because he's tiny.
He still looks small.
So Fallout 76 is something I need to get back into, Gray, because I do. It's a game that came out buggy and a mess at the start, but they worked on it, gave you all these DLCs for free, and credit where credit's due. It's like any Bethesda game, especially if it uses that bloody creation engine. It comes out, it's shit. They work in it for a couple of years, and it gets way better. Like, just bring it out better to begin with, man.
I know. Well, I don't understand. That's because we don't have time to do that. We got to make the money now. So let's just do it.
It takes you a bloody century to get anything out, because we talked about Elder Scrolls 6 and how, bloody, we won't see that anytime soon. And they announced it 6 years ago or something. How does a game take a decade to make? Are they doing it with their eyes closed, Gray? Is it how can we code a game blindfolded? Let's see how long that takes.
Look, when a guy can take AI and make a game in a few minutes that looks as good as the old 8-bit, I'm sorry. Don't tell me you can't. You're going to take, 10
So what do you think it is
game.
then? Do you think it's bad processes, a shit engine? Because they've got enough people at their studio. They have big studios.
I think initially when they made the first announcement, somebody messed up because they were so at that point they're probably, well, I guess they thought they were really confident that they were going to get it out. Yeah. So they figure, let's announce it a little early so we can get, excitement. And then the idiot that did that gets fired the next day, and the rest is history. But I mean, it's so silly. I mean, what was that game that Hans was saying that's been 17 years or something?
I can't remember.
I don't think it was Castlevania, was it? It was some other one.
No, it was something else that will never arrive. Try telling him that, though, but yeah.
I mean, I can understand if it's a small indie and something happens and they can't get the game done. Yeah. But when you're talking about a big-ass Bethesda and they come in and like, we're going to do Elder Scrolls 6. Oh, my God.
Is it Until Dawn? No? Did I make that up?
I don't remember. Maybe. Maybe. But I don't count those because those are much smaller games. I mean...
Right.
Yeah. I mean, people go what? How long? 17? Yeah. So what? But I mean, everybody's giving up on Elder Scrolls 6. I don't care what they say. I don't care. Until I see it, I'm not believing anything.
No, of course. They should have just shut up until near the time. It would have been smart, honestly. But, the cat's out the bag now, so to speak. But I would encourage people to watch the video, the developer preview in the Backwoods, because it does look pretty cool. They have got it looking a lot nicer and shinier, and all this content. And it's a game that's got that bloody pass system in it. I can't remember what they call it. I just thought it was a waste of time and bloody money, that pass system they've got in it. For the diehards, I guess, the battle pass system, if you like.
In
what else?
the DLC you're talking about with Fallout, I think you can play as the ghoul now and stuff. That's what I read.
That's the main picture. It's the ghoul. He's in it as well. Yeah. The ghoul from No, that was the last one. I think that was the last one. Yes. So the last major update involving the ghoul had a good chunk of it revolving around bringing massive parties together for common goals. This time, Gray, they're making it feel more like a camping trip for a few people. So something a bit smaller. And reading the article summary, it doesn't go into as much detail. The things I already mentioned before about Bigfoot and whatnot, gameplay shifts as well, new season 24, new challenges and stuff in there. So, I mean, I just think it's cool to play as a ghoul from the previous one, yes, because I haven't done that one yet. To play, to go up against Bigfoot and rip on a new one sounds cool.
You didn't read anything whether... I didn't see anything either, but Walter Goggins is not doing the ghoul's voice, right? Is he? I don't think
so. Is he not? He might be.
I mean, I personally think it would be wonderful. People would really want, but that would be a few bucks depending on how much you use his voice.
I'm thinking. I think he did. By the way,
you sure? Because I don't see any big announcement about him being the voice. I would think that would be a big deal.
He does. I just googled it. Walton Goggins voices the ghoul in Fallout 76 as the actor from the TV Amazon Prime TV series. He reprises his role for the Burning Springs expansion, appearing as an NPC guest giver at the Last Resort. Goggins provided the voice for the character, often portray him as a stern, no-nonsense figure. So I need to really get back into Fallout 76 because my favourite character of that whole bloody TV show is Walter Goggins' ghoul. Fantastic actor, fantastic character. I need to get into that.
Since you looked that up, are they using any other the voices of the actresses?
It doesn't say anything, but that was mostly around him, that one, so I can't see it. I mean, it'd be cool if they brought Lucy in it, because, I like her as well. She is hot as hell. I am not going to lie.
I forgot his name. The one in the suit, the black actor.
The black guy, I can't remember. Yeah, but he's cool as well. Did you see the... a lot of them didn't play the video game on purpose, right? Because they wanted to go in with fresh eyes. But the guy that is in the armor suit, he was playing with Fallout Boy, a guy dressed up as Fallout Boy, Fallout guy, a big massive one on the couch trying to play Fallout, and it was funny. It's an advert. Go and Google it online. It's interesting. But that's about all he actually ever played in it. So
yeah, we're not going to spoil anything. But yeah, I saw it. I also like the one. I won't say too much, but that I won't mention which character it was. But that guy, when they're saying like, well, you're going to need a lot of bottle caps to pay for whatever, and he goes and pulls his pants up, and all of a sudden, all these caps come flying.
There's rumors that he'll mutate into something, by the way, if you're right into the lore of it, but we'll find out in a possible third season 10 million years from now, because that's how long it takes them. But anyway, that kind of stuff will be on the Hollywood, the Extreme Hollywood podcast that Gray does, so
plug
that. But yeah, that's me for the news from this side of things. I think we've done well to fill it an hour and a half with just the two of us, my man.
Yeah, and we still got stuff.
No, we don't.
All right, I'm going to move along and do a little tech news. And every once in a while, I like to bring up certain products or programs that I use that are not games, more on the tech side of stuff, and that I find very interesting. Some time ago, I talked about Directory Opus that I use, which is a highly customizable replacement for File Explorer. File Explorer is basically putrid compared to it. You can do all kinds of stuff with it. Now, I was looking for a browser because after being a Firefox user for, God, I don't even know, 15, 20 years now, it started having some issues and some weird slowdowns and whatever. And I just started getting tired of it. So I said, I wonder if there's anything new out there. So I basically looked around and I've seen some of the same ones. And I was like, I never liked them before. And I don't like them that much now. Then I find one I'd never heard of before. It's called Vivaldi. And I go, Vivaldi? Like, what's that? I thought it was brand new. I ended up finding out that 1.0 came out in 2016. So it's been around a lot longer than I thought. But it's getting a lot more notice lately for, I don't know what reasons, but So that doesn't matter. So I'm real picky with kind of stuff like that. So it's got to be something that really works good. So I had my Firefox still, which I do, and I just, let it import the bookmarks and wanted to see what this is all about. I'm really loving it, but basically it's built for people that really like customization, and I'm like Mr. King Custom right here. I mean, if I can customize stuff in anything, be it a game or whatever, that make it work the way I want it to work, make it look the way I want it to look, then I'm very happy about it. So when I looked into the settings, and it's not really a hard learning curve. There's enough videos out there and enough understandable things that you can play with. It's not super difficult. So I picked up on it and I started looking at the settings and I'm going like, wow. I mean, there's like so much cool stuff that you can mess with it. Literally, you can change your browser into any look you want. You don't like the bookmarks bar on the top. You want it on the side. You want it on the bottom. You want it on the right. You want it somewhere else. All the buttons, everything can be moved, changed, added, deleted. So if you want a special button to do something, you just put it in, and it stays there. You don't like it on the right, you just change it to the left. You don't like that color, you change that. Do you want to make this one this color and that one that color? Do it. Do you want it to function in certain ways? Open this, open that, open faster, open, whatever, hibernate tabs, all kinds of crazy stuff. And I just was like, I was like in heaven. So I'm sitting there. I spent like probably over a couple of weeks just getting it to where I want it. And I've been using it for about 2 months. And I'm telling you, I'm just loving it. I still haven't figured out some of the cool stuff that it does. I'm just getting into what they call, I think it was called tab tiling in workspaces. So what that means is I really like the workspaces idea. So basically if you go on, like, I don't know, let's say you're studying birds and you have all this stuff and these different things on birds and you want to keep that separate because that's something you're working on. So basically you create a workspace, put all the material, articles, websites, videos, whatever about the birds into this workspace. Once it's in there, then you can go ahead and create new workspaces of anything you want, however you want, whatever you want, whatever content or theme you want. And then you just, there's a drop menu, you just go click on whatever workspace it is and poof, it's all up in front of you.
Right.
I was like, wow, this is cool. And then when you have certain screens, with normal browsers, you can't really do too much with, I mean, you can tab, but you can't really do a lot with tabs. Now you can tile tab. I saw this video that was really great where they took 4 different things and put it into 4 boxes, 6 boxes, 8 boxes. and everything ran independently and ran fine, no whether it was a video or anything else. And it was just like, man, it's hard for me to explain unless you try it. But if you want to mess around, if you don't care about customization, then don't bother. Just stick with what you got. But I can't believe how many things you can do. And it is a little bit of a learning curve, but it's really not difficult. Really isn't. Check out a couple of the videos that are out there and stuff, or you can email me if you want. I'll try to help you.
I found that this article interesting, Gray, because I've thought about doing this in the past many a time, but I'm going to sound predictable here. Chrome is the biggest browser in the world by a country mile for a reason, maybe not rightly so.
Wait. Let me interrupt 1 second. This whole Vivaldi is all built on Chromium.
Yeah, but I that doesn't matter so much to me. I'm used to Chrome. I'm used to what it does. I'm used to having all my bookmarks, my password manager, and everything synced with Chrome. So if I move from machine to machine with that browser, I just log into the browser and it brings everything across. So the fact that it's built in Chrome, the Internet Explorer now or Edge or whatever it's called, is built on Chromium now. I don't use that. So
no, but Chrome is built on Chromium, obviously, and
oh yeah,
But when it's funny when you said some of the things about Chrome that you like, you literally can make it look and act exactly like Chrome or whatever else you want to do. I thought I was going to have an issue too, because one of the reasons I stuck with Firefox, be it whether they were good or bad at the time, I didn't feel like retraining myself on another browser. But when I saw how easy it was to do, and then make it look or act even better than what it was, I was just like, whoa. You might want to tinker. I mean, it'd be fun to try. You can, Jansen tried it, one of our buddies, and he was actually impressed with it, what it could do. And I think you like customization too, so you could just import your bookmarks and then goof with it, and see what you think. But I was like, I haven't been impressed with the browser in years, and this one I did. I just couldn't help myself, because when they said customization, I was going like, yeah, I don't know what they're talking about. I was going like, oh, all right. And they're always updating and things and listening to the people, ask or talk about certain things. And they try to make an effort to correct or add. But I'll tell you one thing: unless Vivaldi collapses some strange way, I'm not going back anymore. I'm good.
I'm really surprised you said that, because you were such a big Firefox guy, to the point where you would even he would have issues with certain applications as well. With I used to use Firefox a little bit, but my work uses Chrome, and I just log into a separate account, Chrome account, with my own personal stuff as well as my work stuff, and it's just all seamless. And don't get me wrong, Chrome certainly at one point wasn't the best browser in the world, despite it being the most popular, but they've improved it massively, to the point where a lot of tabs will go to sleep in the background to save memory. It was always a memory hog, Chrome, very much a memory hog, but it's now it's calmed that down a lot. The tab islands, split screen, they brought a lot of stuff out because they have to compete. It's just bold to move everything across like that, Gray. But if you like it and you're using it, then why not, I guess?
Well, I mean, technically you don't have to move anything across. You're just playing with it,
True, yeah.
I mean, that's all I did. I wasn't going to sit there and go like, I'm keeping everything right there in Firefox. I have a little program that backs up Firefox every 2 weeks, so I was safe. And then I said, all right, if I'm going to do this, let's do it the right way. So I brought over all the bookmarks and then just went from there. I was just very, very pleasantly surprised at how well it worked and what I could do. And it's fast, and it's not much of a memory hog either. So I'm just like, cool, man. Anyway, I don't, by the way, and I'm not making any qualms about it being like, everybody uses it. No, because when you look at it, there was a statistic that I saw online, and of course, Chrome is like 78%. If everybody that browses, Firefox is like 12, and then Opera and DuckDuckGo and all that are like 2, 1. Vivaldi's not even on the chart. So, but that's okay. I mean, I don't care. For me, I love it, but it's just but I'm not pretending that it's like going to take over the world. Nah, I'm not doing that.
True.
Hey, look, Firefox, I think the best they ever did was, I think they had 22 or 25% of the market at one point years ago. Yeah. And then they went right back down again. So, I mean, even Edge is like, I think Edge is second to Chrome, but it's not by a lot though, because it's just so low. Because Chrome is just like way out ahead.
Yeah, it's kind of impossible to touch them now. Yeah.
Let's talk about some cool stuff now. So, I looked at an article here that I thought was interesting. It said PC gamers are about to get a free performance upgrade. And I'm like, what? Nice. So it's Microsoft's latest DirectX update boosts ray tracing performance by up to 90%. And I'm like, really?
Decent.
So it gets a little techy, but they said basically the latest update brings what they call DirectX Agility STDK up to their higher version. The shader execution rendering, SCR, has now arrived. Apparently wasn't there or wasn't as good before. So that's been there and put into it. And then they explain what SCR is, SCR. It says it was originally unveiled by NVIDIA during the 40 series and in 2022. It's a tool that reduces the performance costs of ray tracing, and not in a small way. Since its introduction, it has been used by NVIDIA and other developers and is a big part of Unreal Engine 5. As it went along, they're testing the new capabilities of the DirectX 12. I don't believe it's released en masse to everybody yet, but that's going to be happening like very, very soon. And they said on an RTX 4090, it was a 40% frame rate increase compared to not using SCR. But Microsoft claimed that a couple of configurations of Intel Arc B series GPUs, it went 90% frame rate improvements for using a different GPU. If for some reason, and there's a lot of good reasons, you hate NVIDIA, or you're not too fond of AMD for whatever reason too. This is your thing here. you can pick up an ARC and do, much, much better. But 90% is like unbelievable. I've never heard of that. So
Yeah.
kind of be on the lookout. So I guess when it doesn't really say, it just says looking very promising, and they give you some of the tests, but they didn't really say. It was announced at GDC 2025, but it hasn't really gone in. There is absolutely nothing here that says when, but if they're announcing it like this, I would think it's going to be soon or soonish.
It'll be part of one of the big Windows updates at the launch. And I take it with a pinch of salt, so it says up to 90%. But still, if it's some free performance at any percentage, it's not a bad thing. And building it in, caking it into the Windows level is actually really, really beneficial, because like the graphics card can only do so much. But if the operating system has got it baked in, it's way better.
If they said they got a 40% increase on the 4090, then that must mean on the 5090s that we have, I would assume it's only going to be half that. But even if it is half that, 20%, that's pretty good.
Yeah. You take any performance for free, like it's 100%.
Yeah.
I bear in mind, DirectX 12 took forever to get going because it was just games weren't looking much or running much better on it compared to 11. Yeah. 11 was out for so long, but then 12 has had so much time baking in the oven now for longer that it is a lot better. So yeah, this looks promising, I would say.
Yeah. And I got one last thing. This is going to be right up Trev's aisle, and this is not surprising when I read the title. It goes, Nintendo officially sues, because they're always suing. They officially sue the U.S. government.
Did you steal that article when I put that in Discord, Gray?
No, I saw. I did see it in Discord first, and then I thought it was interesting enough to put on here. But it's just funny because every time you turn around, you hear the name. It's like Sony suing this, that. But I would say it's a bit bold for them to take on the whole U.S. government. So I think, hold on one second. Just sorry,
it's
people.
Amusing.
One thing. So I'm looking at it. It says Nintendo is a notoriously litigious company. No kidding. And its latest legal target is especially high profile, the U.S. government. So they're sitting there going like, Nintendo cites the collection of more than $200 billion in tariffs as a result of unlawful trade measures. Now, we're not going to get too political here, but unless you've been living under a rock, you see some of the tariffs that, the U.S. government has been putting on everything. So since it was struck down just recently by the Supreme Court, there's a lot of tariff revenue that's out there. So Nintendo's going like, well, we want some of that because you basically took it from us. So, and they got a point. So apparently they're going after like as much as they can get. I think I heard, I don't know if the amount is in here. I heard upwards of 200 million plus. So you can imagine there is so much extra money laying around. Now we've heard stories about, well, share it with all the American people since well, everybody else now is jumping on the bandwagon. So now that Nintendo broke the ice on this thing, other companies are going to be jumping on this as well. There's no doubt. So yes, they sue a lot of people, but this time I think I would understand, because if all of a sudden the tariffs are ruled illegal here, then you want your money back if you can get it.
Yeah, but Grace, seeming unfortunately, you know this all too well, that when the price of something goes up, it goes up. But then when the price of it goes down, the wholesale price of it, very little, if any, of the savings then passed on to the end user, the customer, us, the taxpayer. So I doubt you'll see anything back from that. They'll just put more and more and more and more and more pennies into the military. So I can't, yeah.
Well, Nintendo wins, then I expect the prices for Switch games to go down. Never happening.
Yeah, it's bold. It's ballsy. Only Nintendo could do that, and I don't. They might win. You never know. Like they've got very, very good legal teammates, so you never know. It'll be interesting to see how this pans out.
Yep. And that's kind of it for the main podcast. I'm gonna do the quiz, even though there's only two of us, because some of these questions
really.
You don't want me to?
There's only two of us, and you wrote them.
All right, fine.
That's not fair.
I know, but I know you know a couple, so
I know, but that's
you want the competition, man. I know.
See, exactly. No. If I should really be saying bring it on, like no one else, and because I did have a look at them and I went, oh, I know the answer to one of them, but Yeah, let's save it till we've got at least one
All
of the other
right.
boys back.
We'll do that. I mean, really appreciate everybody being with us as you always are. We got a pretty loyal audience out there. We're picking up, extra people listening to the podcast all the time. So, if you want to spread the words and people are into gaming, your friends, tell them about us. We're all over. We're on Spotify and Amazon and Apple and many others.
All the
And now, if
things.
you happen to be on YouTube and you want to see our ugly face for some reason, you can go ahead and look at YouTube and say, "Well, that's what they look like." Holy crap! No. So you can get it there as well. So appreciate it, and we will talk to y'all next week.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
I